This video is split into two parts, the modeling part and the Unity part. If you just want to learn the Unity part, go ahead and go to the timestamp right here. Thank you. Hi, howdy. So, a while ago, I made a tutorial, a really quiet tutorial, on how to make a model in Blender. This time, I thought I'd revamp it. I have new ways of making things, and I've gotten a lot better at it, at least I think so. So, I'm going to make a new tutorial, right, this one, on how to not only make a model in Blender, a lot better than the last one, and to also bring that into Unity and how to do all that stuff in Unity, because I think it'd be a lot more convenient just to have it all in one video and all in one thing. I'm not going to be doing textures in this video because not everyone has Substance Alchemist or Substance Painter, which is what I use. So, I'm not gonna do that in this thing, sadly. But yeah, let's get started. So what you're gonna want to do first, get rid of all this. You don't want it. So you just select it all by dragging, click delete, and you're done with it. You don't gotta worry about it. Alright. On the top right here, you can see all these different directions. This is really important for lining things up. Right? So you just click on it and you go to it. That easy. Now, if we go up here, we can add a mesh. Right? But before we do that, right, we're going to need something to make. I'm going to do a sword that I've already done before since I'm familiar with it, and it'll be a lot easier for me to just make it real quick. So I'm just going to drag that in. There we go. And this is the sword I'm going to be making. You might recognize it as the realistic longsword. So you're just going to line it up. You select it, and then you click R to rotate. And it's just that easy. You move the mouse around to rotate it, and you can line it up like so. There you go. So, first thing first is we're going to make the handle, because that's what I start out with all the time. So we're going to go Add, Curve, Circle, right? If you click G, you can move an object, right? And then if you click either Z, X, or Y, you can move it by that axis, right? So if you look here, the red line is the X-axis. There's no blue line, but blue is up and down, basically. It's a Z-axis, and then Y is the green one, the left and right. So if we take the circle, click G, Z, we can bring it down, right? You can see this is off center, so then we move the picture, click G, then a Y, we just move it on the center. There we go. Take this, click S to size it. A lot of things, they're just the first letter. Like, for the reason you click G is because it's, pretty self-explanatory. Take the picture. We don't want the model to be inside of the picture, so just click G, and then we click on it. We click G, and then we click X. Bring it back there. Up here, go back to the axis. Okay. So this is a circle, but it's a curve. It's not a mesh. So we're gonna make it a mesh. Easy. All you're going to want to do, come down here on the right side of this little curvy bit. You're going to scroll down to geometry and turn up the depth a little bit. And we're going to try to size it up to the size of these right here. Now, your picture probably won't be perfect. That's okay. You can kind of imagine what it would be like if it was straight and all that. So now, once we got that, all you're going to want to do, click on this blue wrench over here, click Add Modifier, and click Array. Uncheck this, check this, and then just move up the Z until they're just about touching. So I'd say like that. That's good. And all you're going to want to do is just click on this and scroll up until you reach the top. And you can click on the sides right here to get a little more. There you go. And click up here. We go into Object, Convert to, because right now it's a mesh, or it's a curve, so we need to convert it to a mesh. We click this bottom one right here. There you go. Now we're going to click Tab to go into edit mode. This is where you can see all the vertices. Right up here, I'm going to click this thing. This basically allows you, if I move something, it moves the other things in that circle. Right. So we're gonna, if you hold Alt and then left click on something, you can select its circle basically, or anything connected to it. Zoom out, click S, scroll up or scroll down, sorry, to kind of move it in place. And we're just going to move it and like that to get the curve. Now you see these bigger ones at the top and bottom. All we're going to do, we're going to click on one of these, click Alt L, Shift D, G, and Z. Oh, hold on, I forgot. Make sure I turn this off. Bring that down right to here, size that up. Maybe scale it down by clicking S and then Z, so it works for G and Z. Like so. Then click on it again, click Alt-L, Shift-D to duplicate, if that wasn't obvious before. Bring that bad boy up here too. Scale it up. There we go. Just that easy. Now we have the beginnings of the handle, right? Alright, next part we're going to make is we're going to make this pommel bit. So, as you can see, it's a cylinder, and then it kind of tapers off into this other cylinder. So, all we're going to do is add a circle, and we're going to see it's up here. Click R90. Let me go on the axis. Click R90, R. And that's all you need to do, R90R. And now face it this way, towards the direction. Click G, Z, bring it down. Click S to scale it down. You're going to line it up. Okay. So we need to move it a little forward. So we're going to click G and then X. Move it about there. Then go into edit mode by clicking tab. Click E to extend. Click E and then Y, or X, sorry, to move it by that axis. We're going to move it, we're going to try to line it up. Just about there. There we go. Now, we're going to go on the right here to add a modifier. Multi-resolution. Click that twice. Then click apply. Go into edit mode. Hold Alt and left click to select it all. Click F to create a face. Do that on the other side. There you go. Now, as you can see, there's a little connecting bit here. So we're going to do that as well. Going to add a circle. GZ to bring it down. S to scale it down. Scale all the way down to here. GZ. GZ again. Not enough. E and then Z to move it up. And then click S to scale it down a little bit. There we go. Now we add modifier. Multi-resolution. Click it twice. There we go. We got that little bit at the bottom. We're going to have to do that at the top here soon, but we don't got to worry about that. While I'm here, this is a little too big, so I'm just going to scale that down. Okay. Always make small adjustments while you're doing things. You're going to notice things that you didn't notice before. That's just kind of part of modeling. Do the same here, why not? Okay, so now you see that it tapers off into the thing right there. So what we're going to do, go back into edit mode. Up here, you see there's the vertices, the edges, and the faces. We're going to select the faces. We're going to select both of these, right? You hold shift to select both of them. And you click I. It allows you to make an indent, right? So we're going to choose there. Then we're going to click S and then X to boof it out like that. There we go. And now we click Control B. Scroll up the mouse wheel a few times. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount, just a few. There you go. That'll be good enough for our purposes here. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate this part. Move it up on the axis. GZ. Scale it up. And you can see that it's kind of the wrong size, so we're gonna, if you click up here on the top right, you see these two boxes right next to all these circles. We're gonna click on that, and that shows X-ray. Then we're just going to click over here, select the vertices, hold Alt and left click, scale that down, do for all these. Then for these, you can just select them since we're in X-ray mode. Like so. There you go. It doesn't have to be too long. That should be fine. Alright, so now we're going to create the guard. All we're going to want to do is spawn in a plane. Click R90. Bring it down. Scale it down. Like so. As you can see, it's kind of it's a pentagon, I think that is. So we're just going to go into edit mode. Click Control Shift B. And move your scroll wheel down until you get to this. Then just click. There you go. Gonna click A, and then we're gonna extend it. We're gonna shrink it down by clicking S. Alright. Gonna extend it again. We're gonna bring it up like that. How we see it in the model. Then we're gonna go over here, select all, click Shift D, rotate X 180, and then we're gonna click G and then Y. Like so. It's just that easy. Then we select we're going to go into the edge mode, select all the edges, like so, except for these middle ones right here. And then click Control B. And we're going to scroll it up a few times, until we get it nice and smooth. Kind of see what it looked like if it was smooth. Hold on, let me turn up the normals, auto smooth. That's what it'll look like whenever we do it. Whenever we smooth it out. Okay, so as you can probably tell, there's a big old gap. So all we have to do to fix that is on the top right here, click this circle to put it in the actual colored mode. And just to differentiate real quick between the two of these, and to make it easier later on, we're going to just color this one, make a new one for this one. If you click down here, you can go into the materials, give this a different color, doesn't really matter. Give this one the other color from the one above that one, like so. And you're just going to select all of these, right? Here, let me get that one, there you go, and click Control J to join them. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click Tab to go into edit mode, click back up here to this thing again, select this edge by Alt left click, and then S and then X. You can see it kind of tapers that off. Alright, and now you can see it doesn't really do it enough here, so I'm going to do it there a little bit to get that nice kind of taper into it. And maybe we can extend this a bit to make it look a little bit better. Like so. That looks okay. Okay, so now we're going to create the blade. All you're going to want to do, also a quick way to spawn in a mesh is just by clicking Shift and then A. And you can pull up this menu that you would get from clicking up here. Shift A, add a cube, GZ, bring it down, S to scale it down. Gonna line it up with the width of the blade. Click Tab to go into edit mode, click up here to go into X-ray mode. Hey, okay, for the rest of this modeling section, my voice sounds really robot-y. I don't know why, I really don't, I'm sorry. But I still have some useful information to give. Go back over here into node mode, get rid of the bottom, we don't want the bottom. Select this top bit, click GZ to bring it down. There you go. And all you're going to want to do is click E to bring it up, S and then Y. Here, actually, turn off this real quick. S and then Y to scale it down by this axis. Click, just keep clicking that. S and then Y. E, S, Y, and you're just going to keep doing that. If it doesn't line up, because it's probably not going to, because a lot of the pictures aren't straight, don't worry about it. Just try to get the close enough to the width as you can, just by kind of looking at it and eyeballing it. Alright, once we get to here, S and Y here, move it up, S and Y by a crap ton, one last one over here, and then for this last one, we're just going to click S. There you go. Scroll down to here, click S and then X to scale it to the width about what you want the middle of the blade to be. So we're on there. There we go. Click Tab, click A, click Control R. As you can see, wherever you hover your mouse over is where it's going to put a line. Gonna hover it over until it gets one in the middle, and scroll up 3 times, and then click twice. Now, Alt left click on the middle one, and what you're gonna want to actually Alt left click on both of these. Sorry, click S and then X to kind of bounce these out, and then on these corners right here, Alt left click on all these. Alt Shift left click. Sorry, that way you can select more than one. Then S and then X, like so. Scroll up to make sure it looks okay at the top here. And now to tell if it looks okay, we're just going to add a quick material, make it metallic, turn down the roughness, like so. As you can see, that doesn't really look like a sword, so all we're going to do, click these two right here, and we're going to just click S and then X to kind of make it a little better. Same with this one here, and that should look okay. It's going to look a lot better once we smooth it out, because you can see if we smooth it out right now, with auto smooth on, it's going to look a lot better after we add more detail to it, of course. So now all we're going to do, go into edit mode by clicking tab again, go into X-ray up here, select this, then you're going to click Control B, scroll it up a few, get it nice and good looking like that. Select the next one, Control B, get the next one, Control B. For anyone that's longer than that, you might want to add more detail. So you can scroll it up more and get more detail in there. Gonna keep doing that. And then this bottom one, we can't really do it, so we're just going to ignore the bottom. Real quick, I'm just going to add some placeholder textures for this thing here. So since we grouped this handle piece together, we can just click here to select them again in this area down here. So we can go to this one. We're going to change it to a brownish color. Something real quick. Just get a nice idea as to what it will look like. We're not going to have this bad of textures unless you want to. Add the metallic one to this one. And then we're going to select both of these, move that down a little bit. Like so. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. That's a pretty good looking sword, I think. Get an idea of what that'll look like. Okay, so you can delete the picture now. We don't need it. So that's what the sword looks like. Okay, so real quick, go ahead and select your model. Go into edit mode by clicking tab, click A, go to UV, click Smart UV Project, and then click OK. Wait for that to go ahead and do its thing. Click, and then you're going to go to Mesh, Normals, Recalculate Outside. And say that. Alright. I think that's actually pretty good. So if you just wanted to make a model, that's all you need. You can just stop right there. That's pretty okay. But, of course, we're going to do the whole Unity section. So real quick, I guess let's go ahead and jump over to Unity. Okay, don't worry, there's no more Optimus Prime voice, you good. Hey, so now we're going to do the Unity section of this video. There's going to be a recap of Drags' video and also Basalt's video. And I thought I might do that as well in the same video just to make it super convenient and also to give you some of the things that I've learned and some of the tricks that I've learned through doing this quite a bit. Alright, so all you're going to want to do is in Unity, right, make sure you have the SDK installed. If you don't know how to install the SDK, you can just ask someone in modding help on the Discord. So what we're going to do is you go into Unity, you find a place where you want to create a folder, right? You should be able to just kind of create it anywhere. It doesn't matter that bad. Once you learn more, you can start organizing more. All you're going to do is right-click, create, and then create a folder, right? And so we're going to I'm just going to name this video sword because everyone does that, because why not? So you're going to want to go into it. Now, there's a few ways you can bring in the model for your weapon, right? You can either if you have Blender 2.8 and you have Unity, right, you can just drop in the Blender file, wimmy wham wham wobble. Or you can export the file as an FPX file, which is going to be useful for most cases, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So all we're going to do is click File, Export, FPX. That easy. Sure, that works. Plop it in there, and then we're going to head back to Unity. Okay, now all you're going to want to do is drag in the FBX file into here. I'm going to go into a new scene. Okay, so real quick, let's go through some of the basics of Unity and some of the movement in Unity. So on the top right here, right, you're going to see the same thing we saw in Blender, basically. And this is your best friend. Use this all the time, please. Not enough people use this correctly. So all we're going to do is click up here. And then this box makes everything 2D. It makes it so much easier to line up things. Okay, you have no idea. Alright, so up in the top left here, delete both the main camera and the directional light. Just select them both, click delete. Easy. Now, drag in your model into here on the left, and you should see the model. It might be tiny, might be big. I think it's tiny. So you're going to click up here on the top left, you see all these tools. This one is a scale tool. Scale it up. Wow, that really is tiny, damn. Okay. So, what we're going to do is on the left here, we're going to create, so right click, click create empty. And we're going to rename that to whatever your thing is. So for me, it's video sword. Go to the model, right click it, unpack prefab, and then drag the model. Here, let me rename it to model. That way it's a little more identifiable. Drag the model into the top bit. Okay, so what you're going to want to do next is go into the top bit up here into video sword, add component, and add an item definition component. Okay, and if your background is gray instead of blue, all you want to do is drag this top bit down here, into here, and create base. Okay, so for all these things on the left, all three of these, all you're going to want to do is do this. So for the holder point, you might have to find it if it's hidden over here somewhere. Now grab it, bring it down to the model, and then you're going to want to put the holder point, this is basically where it's going to be on a holster. Just put -90 in the rotation for the X value, and then drag it somewhere in the middle-ish. Parry point, kind of do the same thing. You don't have to rotate it though, just drag it in the middle of the blade, like that. And then the preview, you might have to grab the preview as well. And then for the preview, change the Y rotation to -90, and then change the Z to 45. Line it up, choose a good size, and then find it wherever the hell it went. There we go. And you're just going to want to put it in front of the weapon. Just a little bit. So, like that. That should do. There you go. And then you might need to move these over as well to the weapon if they've ran away. Just kind of slide them over in place. Like that. Okay, go ahead and create an empty on the prefab. Rename that to parry. Add component on the right side. Search a parry. And then add parry target definition. Go ahead and move it to it. And then make it the length of the entire weapon. Like so. And you can see that we're missing a fly ref and a handle. So we're going to create those. Right click on the topmost prefab thing. Create empty. Rename it to handle. Like so. Then you're going to add component. Handle. And you're going to add a handle definition. And then you're going to change the axis length and the touch radius a little bit, just to kind of get an idea what it looks like. Okay, so all you're going to want to do is drag it down to here, like so. Line it up with the length of the blade, and then just turn the touch radius up to like that-ish. That works. Okay, then go ahead and change the reach to 1. Right here you'll see allowed orientations. Change that to 4. Go ahead for element 1, change the rotation of the Y to 180. For element 2, change the rotation of Z to 180. And then for element 3, do both of those. Element 1, change is default to none. Element 2, change is default to none. And element 3, change is default to none. Okay, that should be fine. Then go up here to the prefab, and you see that the handle automatically updated. But you can also see that we're missing an item ID. All that's going to be is just the same name we've been using. So for me, it's video sword. Okay, so now we're going to create the fly ref. All you want to do is create empty again, like we've been doing. Rename this to fly ref. Now, a fly ref is not needed, but it is preferable, right? So all we're going to do, just create fly ref. We're going to rotate it by -90 on the X. And we're going to move this to the top, like so. There we go. Okay. And you're going to go to the item definition and drag the fly ref right here to that one. Alright, now we're going to create the colliders. Just right click on the prefab, create empty, rename it to blade collider. There we go. And if you click Control D, you can duplicate stuff. And then rename that to blunt collider. There we go. And under both of these, you're going to create a game object in both of them. Like so. And just rename it to collider for both of them. Go ahead and select blade collider, add component, and then if you go collider, you can see collider group. Add that to that. And then do the same for blunt. For the blade collider group, check imbue magic. Don't do that for blunt though. And then so in blade collider, the collider that's there, add component, and for this one we're gonna do a box collider. Not box 2D, just normal box collider. There we go. On the collider, and then on the top over here you click this button. It allows you to edit the collider. You're going to drag it to make it the width of the blade, like so. And then you're going to do the height of the blade. You're going to drag it over. And then we're going to line it up here too, like so. The thing with colliders is they really aren't that important. That doesn't mean you should make good colliders, but for a basic sword, you don't need amazing colliders. All you're going to want to do is just bring up the box collider about there, like so. And then right here on the material, change the material two-blade sword. We're going to do the same thing for this collider, except we're going to make it a capsule collider. And then all you're going to want to do is make this the same width and height as the handle. Then you're going to want to duplicate the blade collider, bring it down to blunt collider, and change the material to metal heavy. And we're going to make it the shape of this guard down here. Make sure to check the sides. You can see that's way too thin, so just thicken that out. While we're on the side, go ahead and make sure you check all your things that you've done so far. So the holder point's good, parry point's good, preview's good, handle isn't, so let's move that up, like so. Fly ref isn't, so just move that over, like so. Alright, and I think, oh no, the capsule collider is not as well. Move that over. Okay, then duplicate the capsule collider, change the material to metal heavy, and then make it the shape of the pommel, like so. Okay, so if you take a look at both of these, you can see that our colliders are done. So that means they'll interact with the environment, okay? So now we're going to create the damagers. Damagers are pretty easy, it's nothing really too complicated. All you want to do, create another empty game object, rename it to Pierce, duplicate that twice, rename the second one to Slash, and rename the third one to Blunt. Make sure they are in this order. If they aren't in this order, it's gonna mess things up in your JSON, and then it's gonna cause a bunch of problems. So just make sure to leave it like that. Then go ahead and add component. Look up damager definition right here, and you're gonna want to add that to each of these. Alright, so for the pierce, you're gonna want to change the penetration depth to whatever. I'm going to move the penetration depth a little bit and change the direction to forward. Then you're going to want to rotate it. If you can't rotate, just click this twice and you'll be able to. Change the rotation of the X to -90. There you go. Line it up with the top. Bring it down, make it slightly above the blade. And if you can't see it, the yellow line, just move it a little bit and just change the length to match with the blade. So that seems to be good. And then just move it back to line it up, like so. For the slash, change the penetration depth to 0.03 and change the penetration length to however long your blade is. So we know that's 0.75. Change the direction forwards and backwards. Then you just want to slide that into the middle of the weapon, like so. Then for the blunt, you don't have to do anything. No one likes the blunt. The last thing we're going to add is we're going to add another empty, rename it to whoosh. Add component, whoosh point. I have an outdated version in Unity, so for you it might have automatically created that with the item definition. But if you have a less updated SDK, then it's going to be you're gonna have to make it yourself. And put the whoosh at the top right there. So for the whoosh, add component and look up woo and find whoosh point. There you go. And then the final thing, go to your model right here, and then add a component, add a paintable component to that. That way you can get blood on it. And there you go. That's really about it. But as you can see, it looks like crap, so we're gonna add textures. So not everyone has Substance Painter or Substance Alchemist, so I can't really put that in the video and show you how to use those. You can find other tutorials for those. But I use Substance Alchemist personally, but there's other ways you can get materials. So all you're going to want to do is drag in the materials that you want. And down here, all you're going to do is create a material. Rename that to whatever you want. And then you're going to want to click on your model, drag that material into element 0, duplicate that material depending on how many materials you have on your weapon itself, and then put those on the other elements that correspond with it. So element, figure out which one it is. So this one is the blade. All you're going to want to do is put the base map right here into the base map up here. And then change the metallic up. Smooth this up as well, around there. And do that for the other ones as well. So you want to click on the prefab, go to asset bundle down here, go all the way to the bottom, click new, go click off of it because it doesn't work the first time. Go down again, click new, and then make it the name of it, but it's all going to be lowercase. Like so. Okay, now you're basically done with it in Unity. All you're going to do, so in the updated version of the SDK, you can go up here to Blade and Sorcery and do mod configuration. I use an outdated version of the SDK because I don't like change. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I'm used to the other way. So I'm just gonna show you how to do it the other way, but you can do it through mod configuration. It doesn't take that much longer to just build the asset bundle yourself though. So all you're gonna do, build asset bundle, scroll down, uncheck any other things that you might have built before, and you're gonna build that asset bundle. Wherever you have your SDK, you're going to go into the SDK, Blade and Sorcery Asset Creator, Assets, and Asset Bundles. And then in this folder, whenever the asset bundle is done building, it will plop it in here. So we're just going to wait till that's done. So once you have your .asset file, you don't want the .asset meta. You can just kind of ignore that. All you want is the .asset. So to do this, you're going to want to have another mod, right, already installed. That way you can use that as a basis. So like a weapon mod or something. I have a lot of weapon mods, so feel free to use any of mine. So depending on what mod you install, it might have custom damagers or not. We'll get into that a little later. I'm going to be using my combat knife as an example for it. So all you're going to want to do is Control C, Control V this file, and rename it to whatever it is you are working on. So video sword. Go ahead and enter that. So for this one, I have my .asset thing for this. You don't need that. Go ahead and get rid of that. And while we're here, go ahead and drop in your new asset bundle into that one, like so. So if it has custom damagers, I guess leave them in for now. You can always go into, so make sure you open JSONs up with Notepad++, or you can just use normal Notepad. And you can go in and you can change all these things. I would just experiment with them. Just experiment with the damage minimum and maximum, and with the slice multiplier down here and stuff like that. For like the pierce and the slash and all those. And you can mess with them and you create your own custom damagers. So go ahead and do that. Go into the manifest. Change the name to the name of your thing, of the name of your weapon. So video sword. And go ahead and change the description and the author. Okay, next rename the item weapon JSON to item underscore weapon underscore and then the name of your thing. Like so. Okay, so now you're going to want to go into the JSON. And you're going to change the ID to the name of the weapon. So video sword. And you just want to double click on that, Control C to copy it, and just replace all the things that have video sword with that. But down in prefab name, where it's at and then the name, colon, and then the name, make sure the first one is all lowercase. So it matches up with your asset bundle that you made earlier. And then go ahead and change the name of the storage category to whatever you want it to be. So for this, it's going to be a sword, so we're going to change it to swords. And you're just going to Control S to save that. And if you like the damage that you have, with the custom damagers, you can just keep it at that, and you're done. Okay, so if you did everything correctly, that should load in game fine. You might have to make it a little bit bigger or smaller. Make sure not to change the size of the prefab at all. Leave the size of the prefab at 1 all the time. Always change the other things like the model and everything else. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to create your second mod way faster than your first one. This saves so much time, and there's really no point in doing it any other way for any other weapons after your first one. Duplicate the folder that you made. I'm using a different weapon for this example. Go ahead and rename it to whatever you want your new thing to be. Go ahead and rename the prefab to that thing as well. And then you're going to open up the prefab, right? You're going to go into the item ID and the item definition, change it to there as well. And then you're going to bring in your new model. I'm just going to be using the video sword again, just as an example model. And then all you're going to do is drag in the new model into here. Then you're just going to place your new model over your old model. You're going to delete your old model. Then you're going to unpack the prefab. Then you're just going to move everything to line up with this new model. Alright, once you got all of that done, go into the asset bundle down here and change it to the name of your new asset bundle that you're going to be doing. And then you build the asset bundle. And then you just do what you did last time with the JSONs. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed. If you need any questions, feel free to go on the Discord and ask in modding help, or you can message me. Um, I'm just called Butters on the Discord, and you can find me pretty easily. Um, and yeah, that's really about it. I hope this helped you out. There may be some problems that you run into. Just experiment, just try out new things, try to figure it out yourself, you know. A lot of the learning you'll do is not from watching a video or a tutorial, it's just from doing it yourself and getting experience. So yeah, thanks for watching.